Hey, welcome back. You're watching Centerline Designs. I'm Cole, and we're going to do some SnowCat work today. I'm planning on continuing with the cab and doors, so let's take a look at that. So if you've been watching the build here, in the last video, I was working on this little roof extension to cover up the cowling there for the intake and rad air and everything like that. So the roof is going to overhang that back end a bit. I don't know, give it a little bit of a flare, make it look kind of good. We matched the angles with the back too, so kind of bringing that tapered back end up top, help tie things together. I want this thing to look really good. So we're going to get to doing some doors, and then after the doors, we'll wrap that and close it all in. So right now, I'm going to start in this back door, being that it's just a simple rectangle. It will be the easiest one, so why not do the easiest first, and then I'll move over to this one, which will have a little bit more difficulty because we got some, different angles in there, but I think it should work out all really well, and I hope you enjoy what we're doing. I'm going to give you a little bit of a demonstration of how my door is going to work. The full interior of this door opening is going to get a piece of 1 inch by 120 mil angle. The door frame is going to be made out of a piece of 1 1/4, and we're going to set this up at a spacing so that when the door comes shut, it will both clear all of the the body panel screws and compress the weather stripping that we have here, a nice little piece of bulb seal that'll be attached to the door. That'll come in, just put a little compression on it, and then the door latch will hold that. And I just need to make note of the clearances I need on the inside here and to the body panel so that it's not sitting there and going to rattle and make noises. So we're going to do some fabricating, then we'll kind of set all of our angles where they need to be, and hopefully by then my door latches will be in, which will be really nice. I'm happy about the style of door latch I'm using. And essentially this will be the door that swings open and then swings shut. That's my plan. All right, I got a few of the inside pieces cut out. These ones are going to get clamped in like this. This is really just for look. I'm not measuring the distance or how the set in I need. I just kind of want to make sure that all my parts come together and fit as they should. Now I really like that. Give you a little bit of view here. So we have our 2-inch tubing there, and then we have this 1-inch angle nicely mitered in the corners. And that is going to provide the backstop for the doors. And we'll just do some tacks along here, seam seal it all when it's done. Doesn't have to be overly strong, but it's gonna turn out really good, I think. Let's get that top piece in, and then let's start. I'm gonna put some shims in here for the spacing I want and sort of build the door to the opening. That's an important part here. Everything is pretty close to square, but there might be a slight difference, and I've just learned over the years, for something like this, I'm just making one of them, totally custom. I'm going to make the door to the opening and not just take my measurements and build the door on the table, because the door that winds up on the table is going to be slightly different in some manner. All right, we got the first piece in. I got the next couple pieces cut. Let's see how they fit here. That looks really good. We got these together. Those miter joints looking really, really nice. So I just need to cut a couple more shims. I'm gonna get the top piece in and this back down. We'll get it all fit, and then I'm gonna come in, maybe with it even just electrical taped in like that, and start tacking all the corners, maybe put a brace in before I remove it to weld it. And then once it's something rigid that can be handled, I'll work on test fitting it, get the hinges on, and we'll pretty much have a working door. And then the last thing we do will be to set that backstop or the jams where the bulb seal will seal against. And then I think on the top, I'll wind up doing a little bit of a louver over the door to keep rain from coming in and down. So I want to seal this thing off really well. Again, I'm going for quality. I just want it to be a really, really nice machine. So I'm gonna go ahead, give everything a little wire brush, which I probably should have done ahead of time, but then I'm gonna come and tack all this in. Just slowly spread the heat around. I don't want anything to warp too much. All right, now I'm gonna get this door frame welded up. I'm gonna be conscious of where I'm welding first. If I go welding all these inside joints, it's really gonna make it change its shape. So I'm gonna go and weld these perpendicular miter joints first, which won't have a lot of pull on the way it goes. And then when we go to weld in the insides, the door should stay fairly true. So, alrighty, let's do some welding. All right, let's give you a look. There you go. See, that's why I choose TIG for the things I want to look really good. Is it recording? Oh. I mean, yes. It's recording? Okay. So why don't you come in and ask me, what are you making? What are you making? We're making a door, bud. Watch out, it could be hot. Okay? And then we'll have hinges on there. That was not what to happen. That'll be a SnowCat door. I'm stuck. Yep, and there's a lot of... Why I don't want to come. Oh, yeah. I am not fine. Well, before I get cutting that out, I've had people ask me what I use for blades, and I haven't really mentioned too much about it, I guess. The best thing to use is a blade that has a high tooth count and preferably a neutral to negative rake on the tooth. This one is primarily a wood blade, so it's rough cutting, and it also has a real forward positive rake. You really want to be using a blade like this that has a much higher tooth count, 60 teeth on just a 6.5-inch blade. And also, I'm not sure it says here, lots of times they'll tell you like -5 degrees or +5 degrees. Judging by this, I would say it's probably neutral, if not back a couple of degrees, which keeps the blade from trying to take too big a bite out of the aluminum. You want it to just nicely peel shavings away. So this one, this looks like. So the plan here to attach the body panel to the door of the frame is going to be exactly the same as the rest of the vehicle. I'm going to drill it out, drill tap, use those self-sealing machine screws. I'll probably, just thinking, oh, I guess I should get this all drilled out first, and then we can mark out the window same as the other side and cut that out. Well, I got all the holes drilled in here, and I went ahead and actually drilled the hinge side because I laid it out, and it's actually going to work out really nicely to place the hinges in between the those self-sealing machine screws. So I'm not going to screw with the pattern at all. It'll all fit together quite well. So next step is drill the clearance hole through the actual body panel, and then drill and tap the frame and mark and cut out the window. Well, it's starting to look like a door. So just like every other body panel, I'm only putting a few screws in for now because the sheet metal needs to come off to put some polyurethane between the frame and the panel. Just as everywhere else, that'll help give us a better seal and also stop any kind of tinny sound. So I'm just temporarily putting these on for now. If you've seen the episode where I was doing the back of the cab work, here I'll show you. Doing that dimple dissection up there, I secured it to the cab and I used some nut inserts to do that. So I'm going to do the same thing to put a 1/4-20 nut insert into the 120 wall 2-inch tubing. That is the frame of the cab. Drilling and tapping that 120 wall for a door hinge just isn't going to hold well enough. So these riv nuts go in, they sandwich the material and give a nice threaded steel insert. These are zinc plated, take forever to rust. So the only thing we got to do is you have to drill a hole that's as close as possible to the riv nut so it seats in there really well. So I'm looking about 340 thou. I'm going to go find a drill bit that I have close enough. All right, so a 21/64 comes in at about 347 thou, so that's going to be just perfect. I'm going to drill out the cab bolt or the cab holes and put some nut inserts in. There we go. All right, so I do have a slight depth change here. The hinges are going to need a bit of a shim behind them to make it flush. For now, I'm just going to use some washers. I'll cut out a nice aluminum shim after. So I seem to routinely have goodies coming in steady. I found these, what do they call it? I forget the style anyways. A paddle handle latch. Turns out these are for like a Jeep Wrangler or YJ or something for soft doors. So it's a really nice simple latch, just a single pin, locks that in. Nice, simple, and what it turns out is that, so this would be the driver's side. It's going to work perfectly for the front doors because the little bit of angle that was designed into these matches the angle on the slope of the windshield. So it's going to fit in perfectly. The rear one is square, so naturally that'll provide or that'll cause a little problem, but I think we can work around that. It won't be an issue at all. And then aside from that, I have lots of other stuff coming in. So the wiper blades on the windshield I'm putting in are going to be a Fantograph wiper arm. So they're going to go like kind of perfectly horizontal side to side. And that also means some nice heavy duty Westco Marine wiper motors. These are fully indexable for the sweep angles, and they're multi-speed. None of this stuff is cheap, but when you're out in the winter trying to plow snow or get somewhere and you can't see well, you'll be very pissed off. I want this thing to be a workhorse, very drivable. I'm going to do it right. So yeah, there might be some back and forth or different aspects of the design, but certain areas are definitely going to get quality parts. Okay, so I've kind of roughed in where this door latch is going to go. So now I'm going to take the zip cut. We're going to cut that out. These two holes are going to secure onto the actual frame, and then I'm going to add in another piece of angle here. So this door handle will really have, the door handle will be really tied into the door frame, and I think that's going to, give us the best strength. Looks really good. So the handle mounts with 4 holes through the perimeter. So I've got this piece cut up. Now we're just going to have to get this into place. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So now we just have to make the striker that's going to hold the door closed. So I need to make kind of a U-shaped piece of round bar and an angle that'll mount this interior frame. So when we go and shut the door, it'll slam that shut and keep it locked and pressed up against that weather stripping. It's going to get mounted right about there. All right, well, welcome to Inside the SnowCat.
We have that striker made. I went ahead and drilled out and put nut inserts in just as you've seen me do before. And I am going to bolt it on. Moment of truth. Now, I don't have the door jamb in there right now. And as you can tell, the striker likely needs to be spaced in a bit more. But once we have the jamb in there and the weather stripping, I want the weather stripping to seal against the door and not it come right and rattle against the frame. But for all intents and purposes, that is a working door. Yeah. The door works. I don't have the weather stripping or anything inlet yet, like I said. So it has some adjustment still, and I can adjust everything. But, you know, principle is it works.